Don't sit down, Natalie. Let's all stand, please, and enjoy the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I'll call this regular school board of Independent School District number 544 to order. Our first item of business is to establish our quorum, so I'll turn to the clerk.
Mr. Hermes?
Present.
Matt Lemke? Here. Steve Wittesau?
Here.
Melanie Cole?
Here.
Lane Danielson? Here. Natalie Knudsen? We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? We did have a late-breaking edition that was emailed out last night.
So moved.
All right, we'll take Missy for the approval and second by Blaine. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved, and we will move to reports, and I will use the same format I did at our last meeting, since the summer collateral duties end up getting kind of skinny. Rather than go around the table and say there wasn't much to report, I'll just ask if any board members have anything specific they'd like to report about their additional obligations on the board.
Well, staff development has not met, but I know that there was a big training this summer recently, the Envoy training, which is about classroom management, and a lot of the teachers in elementary, as well as a few middle school, and then also I guess a few high school teachers as well, and principals all attended that, and we got good feedback on that. And so, looking forward to hearing what happens once school gets up and running.
Great.
For me, there's not much in the legislature, but politics, election-wise, as far as I know, there's 3 people that have applied for running for school board, correct? And that's you and Melanie, Missy, and then John Hoglow. Yeah. Has there been anybody else, Elaine?
Blaine is in the process.
Okay. That's about all I got. So.
All right.
I'll just report on the Minnesota High School League on August 7th, and they just some of the things that they've done. They approved some updating on the district football, so their changes were made to reflect the process used to determine placement. Of course, they don't tell you how, they just approve it, so they don't necessarily tell you the placement, but that's something that's changed. They also completed the implementation of the legislative audit recommendations to the Minnesota High School League. They had an audit done, I think it was last year or the year before, on the Minnesota High School League, and some recommendations of changes for them. And so they have now completed those recommendations. They also are considering the addition of 9th grade to the Minnesota High School League. And I think this is something that's slowly starting to come about, is looking how they want to treat 9th grade. Is it a varsity activity towards that way, or is it still its own separate? And so there's some discussion on that part also. And that's what I have to report.
If they do that, Matt, do you know, are they going to count that towards the not attendance, but the grade level numbers?
You know,
as far as how they place based on that?
I would say probably not that, but it is a good question if that's eventually how they will do it, if they will, I would say at least since it's coming up this cycle now that they'll be taking our sophomore, junior, and senior numbers coming up this year for placement.
Does that mean money to them somehow?
I don't think money to them, no, I think it's
it
just
allows schools to get more kids that need the kids, probably.
Well, I think people don't understand that the public, they think everything 7-12, all sports we have are governed by the Minnesota State High School League, and they really are not. It's really the 10-12.
Right.
But we choose as a district, all of the Minnesota State High School League's rules, our policies is 7-12. So we treat it that way. So we have all of our students governed by the rules and regulations of the Minnesota State High School League.
So basically, their initiative would do what we've already chosen to do in-house.
I would believe so, and there might be even some more stricter, I would say, some things of just playing and how many games you can play and stuff like that, where I think if you leave 9th grade by itself, there's not a as much of a control about the number of games you can play and things of that nature.
Yeah, good point.
I'm sure that's part of what's factoring into this.
Yeah, I think over the last year, if you looked especially down at the girls' basketball state tournament last year, there was a lot of 7th and 8th graders playing varsity level down there, and that might have something to do with it, so.
All right. Any other
Only from
reporting?
my side, as far as buildings and ground, I'll just, if I can get Mark just to give us a quick update. I know we had a lot of stuff going on. I saw some guys up on the roof last week, and I know we're getting close on the boiler project.
Certainly, the heat pump project, all set to go. They ran into a small problem on the startup. Apparently, when you put a rookie out and installing controls, sometimes he puts the controls in backwards, so they had to get that resolved, but that's a minor issue. So they're firing it up again this week, and we hope to have cooling in there, and that's the ultimate, of course. If we can get cooling and heating, that's what the whole purpose of the thing is for. As you mentioned, up on the roof, they're finishing off the Kennedy building here. They just got some of the metal trim and so forth to go up there. They expect to be done here before Wednesday, rain permitting, of course. Then over in the pool, we're finishing up on painting. Filled up the pool and found out the heaters aren't working, so we had to get a part, and that's supposed to get here today. And so we won't make the swim team's startup of sports here, so they got to do some dry land or over the Y or something. But in terms of the water, it's in there, and now we just got to get it warmed up. I don't think they want to do polar plunge at all.
Hey, maybe in this heat, maybe they do.
Yeah, open the doors.
So those are the big 3 projects. We've had a number of other ones around the district court. There's some flooring going on there. That's all done. Over at Adams and McKinley, we've had some work done on the kitchens. I think McKinley is done, but Adams, we're waiting for a final prep on the wall to make it waterproof, and then they'll put the equipment back in and we'll be ready. So that should be done by the end of this week. So, a lot of stuff going on. We get it and they're done.
And the teachers have access to their rooms now in Adams again, right?
Yes, I talked to the principal and we had opened it up, and they can get in there. Stacy and Karen have done a great job in there of getting the place cleaned up, and the custodians. So despite all the construction, they're going full steam over there, so they'll be ready.
It's just to avoid the waxed hallways. Don't touch the hallways if they're waxed right now, so that's probably the only thing that's holding people back right now. So just gotta watch out for that.
All right, good. Thank you for the reports. We'll turn to the
Yep.
superintendent.
Echoing Missy's comments on Envoy, we had some very, very veteran teachers' comments like, oh my, where was this 30 years ago and when I was starting out, or also just looking at how this will fit so nicely with our formative assessment work that we've been doing, differentiated instruction, so just very, very positive comments. The follow-up, which you kind of led me into here is nice, is now the trainers will come back and actually evaluate how they're doing in the classroom. So what they'll do is we'll give them a few weeks head start here, get them comfortable, you bring the trainers in, and what they do is they view them for 15 minutes and then they debrief for 15 minutes. So they're right in there, so the trainers will be on site doing that. Last week we had the Google Summit, very nicely attended. I think we had 150 or so attending that conference. And it's just amazing all the things that Google's doing with the classroom. It's great stuff. So we had lots of our staff there. This Wednesday, we have our principal retreat. We're going to do a cookout right away for our custodians, thank them for their good work for the summer. And then we're going to be working on some leadership initiatives and just getting ready for the school year. We'll be meeting with Chief Bergeron and walking this building specifically about so there's some changes up that we're going to be doing with our fire drills. Next week, August 22nd and 23rd, lots of people will be in the building again. Mentor and mentee training separately, and then they'll be together. And then our IQ day, staff day, is on the Wednesday the 22nd. And then the afternoon of Thursday, the 23rd, we'll do some everyday math training. So we have a number of new staff that haven't had the full bore everyday math training, so now we get a lot of those staff in. And then the fall in service, what we have is, I guess we'll be meeting on the morning of the 27th again for our last morning meeting. But that's a work day for staff. They do have principal meetings on that day. Tuesday is the instructional day, in-service day, where we have ACES training at 8 o'clock and also 12:15. Everybody's welcome. It's in the auditorium. There's plenty of room. We have Otter Tail County Collaborative invited to that, so if you want to come in, please do so. In the cafeteria, we'll have a gentleman named Brian Harris, written a book on building resilience, engaging students in poverty, doing a lot of the work. So you find out about students with ACEs, and then, okay, how do we make a classroom engaging for them? Wednesday, the 29th, is the open house, and then Thursday morning is the district meeting, and then we have trainings throughout that day as well. So we're set to go. Activities, by the time we leave this meeting, there'll be lots of people entering this building, so we've got all the different activities starting today. It's a fun day. And people, for their calendars, you can look at Otter Pride Night is on September 14th. That's a Friday night. That starts at 5 o'clock, I believe, in the Gold Gym, and against Detroit Lakes this year. So there'll be a crowd for that. And the homecoming week, we're already talking homecoming, that's interesting. September 28th, homecoming is against Perham this year. So our Otter Pride Night and our homecoming, big rivalry. So that'll be fun. I've told a lot of people, August is a fun month, where the anticipation of getting school up and going and all the activities and getting people back in here and training them and doing the stuff is, it's a good month.
Cool.
Jerry, just a quick question on the envoys. The follow-up, is that cost, was that all included in the initial?
Well, the initial estimate, we had more staff that signed up, so we have, but what you could do is you could train everybody from 40 participants to 70 was all the same price for the trainer to come.
Okay.
So we had a much higher sign-up rate than I thought that was going to be. And then what we do is it's a la carte. So now we buy how many days. You could have 4 or 5 times or 1 or 2. We'll just have to decide. But because it's and the idea, what they're saying is you can come in and coach, or do you want to be a certified envoy presenter? I think we'll have a few that have the certification, and they have to observe them a couple times. I think we'll have a lot that just want to be coached and just use it in there. But if we can train our own trainers at some point, that's healthy. But I'm wary of that, because then we're pulling them out of their classroom so they can go help others. So there's a good thing when you just bring another trainer in and just let them do their work and not pull our teachers out all the time. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you for the report, Superintendent. And we'll move on to our general consent items. In this vote, we'll consider the minutes from the July 16th school board meeting, and then our bills and treasurers report. So Natalie Knudsen, how are we doing there?
We are staying pretty well still, $6.2 million, but down significantly from last month, but the state doesn't fund us in July, from July to August, so just the normal bill expenditures without a payment from the state.
All right. Very well. And then Superintendent, will you cover the various personnel activities?
Again, a lot of things happening here, so we're trying to finalize our staff. I think the only thing we have left right now is a part-time elementary teacher. That's what we're trying to land right now. Hopefully that'll happen this week.
That's art, the part-time art teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 5th and 6th grade. Okay, Andrea Knick is a new paraeducator for us. Steve Peterson, part-time custodian. Brian Peterson is the new mechanical person. Diane Jensen is returning to the district for Title I para. Lance Wells will be our food service director, if approved here. Jennifer Carlson is student service coordinator. You know it as homework help. That's that position there. She's new to the community last year. And then we have some resignations. Karina Larson, Troy Streetsman is resigning as custodian, so that's why you probably saw that advertisement last week. Then with our number of 10 sections, we had to adjust the music teacher, general license contract up a little bit. Gina Bush has rescinded teaching rights for IQ. And then these are our annual overload contracts. The new one this year would be, well, I guess two of them are new. Catherine Anderson, she's going to be working on work-based placement apprenticeships during her prep hour, purchasing that. And then Jamie Lill, again, with the additional sections at McKinley. We have that. And then we have Ryan Johnson coming out of the IQ classroom as assistant principal. And this is in anticipation of the clinic care having a number of students coming to our community where we'll need administrative help there. Mike Donahoe is the debate team, recommending him for the head coach of the debate team. And the last one is a contract with, basically it's Elaine's personnel manager, changing the title to Human Resource Director. So recommend approval of all those items.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the items? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We have returned to old business, we got bids. And so I look for a motion regarding the 18-19 milk bids. It's endorsed, we use the contract with Cass Clay as a low bidder. So would somebody make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing
You
none?
blew it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're supposed to move.
This is just only happens
Daryl,
one
I'm
time a
sorry.
year.
Yeah.
This is your one motion you make per year. This is yours.
I can rescind my motion.
We're dignified much, that's for sure. But, all right, so we have, someone's moved to take the milk bids, and we have a second, and any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Good recovery.
All right, got that covered. Whew. New business. Looking for a motion to call for food bids for the fiscal 19 school year. And this year we'll be doing for the full year. Remember the business manager tried sectioning it and didn't really make a whole lot of difference in the long run. But so, is there a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All right. All in fa-
Would they prefer it that way, Mark, the full year, do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're looking for it and they're reportedly more competitive about it.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Oh, question on that. With the new food service person, is that gonna make any, would it be, if they wanted to make any changes, does that kind of put them in a tight spot or anything like that, or is it
No.
just?
Because, for example, on the milk, you only have to really bid 2 or 3 items on the milk in order to get enough volume to cover whatever costs on everything else. Same kind of thing in the food. If you get the basic things bid, like hamburger can be used any different way, shape, or
Right.
form. So if you get that, you're good.
Okay.
Other questions or discussion? All in favor of approving, calling for bids for the whole year, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that's approved. Looking for a motion for the post-secondary administrative contract between M-State and our school district. Somebody offer that motion.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, any questions about that? It's our annual contract for the post-secondary education.
Costs are going up, and that's all around the state post-secondary, the costs are increasing.
So, can you explain that a little bit more, Jerry? Then the cost to our district increases, the students still have the option, so still a good deal for
Yes,
a
yes,
student.
still a good deal for us that we offer the class in this building. We get our full funding for our students, and then we pay M-State for a cost for offering that section, if you will.
Okay.
So it's still a better deal than having them leave our district and go PSCO totally. having concurrent enrollment classes definitely is better.
So basically, because we're dipping our toe in their water, we've got to pay them
Correct.
for the privilege.
Yep.
Got it.
So correct. We need to pay for the credits that our students are receiving, and that's a state requirement.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of approving that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that's approved. And then, looking for a annual contract endorsement for the early childhood services provided by the Lakes Country Service cooperative staff. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
Second. Go ahead.
I'll take Blaine. Any discussion on that? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that's approved. And attached in our packet, and as we discussed as a board, we are looking for board approval of our school district's mission statement, core values, and goals. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
I'll take Matt for the motion and Blaine for second. Any discussion on that?
I'd say the mission statement, we added at the end of the mission statement, in a safe learning environment.
Right.
So basically, it's producing productive citizens in partnership, or through academic excellence with partnership with families, community in a safe environment.
Sounds good. All right.
I just wanted to make one
Learning
comment
environment.
too.
Yeah.
I wonder if, since we're talking about the ACEs training and so on, and the word that they use, we have perseverance or grit, and the word that's in a lot of that training is resilience. So I don't know if maybe that's something to think about adjusting later, but for right now, I mean, this is fine too. But they mean they're similar, but I know in this ACEs training that we're all, and our teachers are going through, that maybe a better word is resilience.
Yeah, interesting. The comment they're making is, when you think of perseverance and grit, you say, all right, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and move and let's go. And what if you don't have bootstraps?
Right, yeah.
That is really the line there. And so now resilience is a great word. I think we should explore that for a future. Yeah.
All right, good. Any other commentary? All in favor of approving as it stands now, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That's good. Is there a motion to approve the IQ Academy Parent-Student Handbook?
Moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
And very little changes to that, correct, Superintendent?
Correct.
All right. Any other discussion on it? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. Looking for a motion to approve our contract with Lake Region Healthcare Corporation for the sports training and medicine services agreement for the following school year. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on that? This is similar, this is basically the same contract, correct, that we've endorsed in the past for the athletic trainers available for our students. Any other discussion?
Is that based on so many hours or so many activities, or how is that based? What is?
So many days of their time.
So many days,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. And that concludes our agenda. As noted earlier by Superintendent Ness, we have one more summertime early morning meeting, 7:15 on Monday, August 27th. And that will be right here in the Otter Community Room. There's no worthy dates, but I know parents are really, in particular, interested in that open house date of August 29th. And then for the elementary students, we can anticipate that about, 3, 4, 5 days in advance of that open house date, they'll get the classroom assignments for their students.
Yeah, their goal is to mail, on Friday, the 24th, they would have the teachers and schedules and everything on the 24th.
Yeah, that's big stuff right there.
It is.
And we will have a work session. We're gonna go over the start of the school year. Superintendent Ness gave us some of the fundamentals. We'll talk about that a little further, and we're gonna set a meeting for the policy committee because there's some policies to review. So, a lot of policies. And so with that,
Yeah, right.
is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Sign it. Like 12.